Yeah. So just want to say welcome. And, it's been 2 weeks that we've all been undergoing this, unique time and situation. And so we had, sent out a survey this week, and we wanted just to be able to even hear from you guys kind of face to face as much as we're allowed to. I don't know if you guys saw, but maybe I should be wearing this during our session just to make
That's
sure.
a nice one, actually.
I don't want to make you guys sick. So
Where did you get it from?
we had it's just our neighborhood. It's a new little pharmacy, and they had Jordanian ones. They've got Palestinian ones. And I gave them a hard time that they didn't have any American ones, but
that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. I've had a few people who saw the photo and asked me to buy them one and bring it to the gym once we get open. So it'll be something, it'll be nice like that. So kind of how I thought today would work is a chance I want to kind of share some of the feedback and things that we've been learning in the last 2 weeks. I want to give you guys a little bit of a picture of some things that we can be thinking about in the coming 2 weeks. And then kind of what are some of my expectations about what will happen in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And I think we all know, honestly, it's kind of hard to do much planning at this time, but we're just going to do the best we can. And then take some question and answer from you guys and hear some of your own feedback. So one of the things I'd like to do is start by, I want to draw something here, just like it's a class, right? Get our Metcon up on the board. But you guys remember let me do this. At the gym, on our wall, we have our pyramid, and we've got our little levels, right? So does anyone remember at the gym what we have on the top of our pyramid? We can remember here. Come on, Wadia. I know you're the best student in your class, so.
How do you know I was the best student?
Your dad brags on you every time I see you, so I know you and Yezin were the best. I heard Rachel, Joy. And really another part of what I think that really comes down to is another term sometimes we've been talking about is energy. Like when you have joy, when you're enjoying something, you feel energized. And so, that is really what we're aiming for. Now, so everything that's underneath it is aimed at, bringing joy and energy. And so the different things that we focus on, next would be, right underneath that would be weightlifting, right? And then we put gymnastics, body weight. Then we put cardio or metabolic conditioning. Well, I'm just going to put cardio for now. I could just put burpees up there, cardio. And then nutrition. And then the piece that we really add to our gym is one more, right? We have joy at the top, whereas most CrossFit, when you see the pyramid and you see on the back of the CrossFit seminar shirts, they put sport on the top. But for most of us, playing a sport competitively that's not really the end objective that we have, right? We're trying to be healthy and fit for our families and our future. And we want the energy to be able to live and thrive in life. So when we think about right now, we have nutrition, and then at the bottom is what was interesting was one of the pieces of feedback when we did our survey, when we asked the question, what's the main reason why you have not come to to do any of the online classes. And by far the highest number was motivation, right? And so in other words, oftentimes we put the word purpose, but perhaps even the better word instead of the word purpose would be the word motivation. But really, these two things are so intertwined, motivation and purpose, right? Because I see Zaid, you're agreeing with me there that our motivation, rises and falls with, as we can see, is there a real purpose for this? Like, what's going to be the end product that I'm going to get from this? So, but a couple other things I wanted to add in here. We've done so. One of the other things that we hadn't put in here, but really belongs here, and I'm just going to put it over here, is recovery, right? I don't know how many of you guys got to sit in on Safe's or have listened to Safe's session on sleep, but boy, it was fantastic. I think anyone who has taken the time to listen, I'm sure that you learned a lot in that time, because sleep and is such a huge part of the recovery process. And then maybe one other piece that would really belong here would be mobility. And so, not maybe it would be, I mean, it would belong here. It's just one of those things that we don't necessarily spell out, but these are the things that we're thinking of as we're programming and, developing out our ideas and programs and operations. But so I think one of the things that I wanted to look at as we think about this is that what is it that we can still work on in the midst of this, that we're not meeting at the facility anymore. But if we look at this, out of all of these things that we've got up here, what's the one thing that we have a harder time doing right now?
Lifting.
Yeah. So weightlifting, like, unless you happen to have I think we've got maybe two or three different houses, two or three different households that have some like a bar or a squat rack, right? But there's a reason. I think that this is just important for us to understand. There's a reason why Greg Glassman and CrossFit puts this up here, right? Because if you've not mastered these things underneath it, your ability to really benefit from this is dramatically reduced. And so if for right now, if this is what we're missing, okay, so we're going to have a harder time doing weightlifting. And so I guess when you guys think about that, so right now we're not able to do cleans, we're not able to do heavy squats, we're not able to do heavy deadlifts. Have any of you guys ever read anything about how long it takes before you start losing your strength? Like, we've been building up. Has anyone, I don't know if anyone's done any research about how long that takes? Like, I guess that's one of the questions I have for you guys. Is that something you guys fear, that, we're going to end up losing the strength that we've been building? Is that something, I don't know. I'm trying to watch faces here to see if that's a
Yes, it
fear.
is.
Okay, Wadia said yeah. Is that how some of you guys feel too? Rose said no. Riham says yes. Yeah. I think that's possible, that for many of you guys that may be a concern. I'm going to, we had begun drafting a blog article talking about strength and about actually our bodies are pretty amazing in terms of, as you're building strength, that is the thing that actually stays for quite a while before you begin to degrade. And it doesn't degrade super fast. It's just degrades slowly. And the amount of its degrade only happens if you begin to neglect some of these other foundational things. So one of the things, personally, this is losing your strength and losing your technique here is not something you should be worried about. Okay? It's just not something you should be worried about right now. As you're training consistently, you don't need to be worried about losing strength. And your technique, yeah, I mean, are you gonna feel a little bit rusty when you get under a bar and you work on a clean and jerk and you haven't held the bar in your hands? Well, yeah, you're gonna feel a little bit rusty about it, but the technique is the thing that, again, it's muscle memory. So our bodies are going to repick that kind of thing back up, and that's not just something that you should be particularly, concerned with, is losing strength. So I don't want to worry about that. So we were missing one thing, but in terms of gymnastics, really, we can still do an extraordinary amount of gymnastics, can't we?
Only handstand.
Yeah, and we can do lots of handstands. And so this is one of the things where, well, maybe I'd even want to come back a little bit, but on weightlifting, I mean, some of the best weightlifters would say that some of their best technique work comes when they're just using a PVC pipe, right? And they're just hammering away at the positions, and they're hammering away. So there's still technique work that can be done here, watching our footwork and in these areas of weightlifting. And when it comes to gymnastics, okay, so we don't have rings available, and we may or may not have pull-up bars available. Probably most of us don't have pull-up bar. And so basically one of the 6 planes of motion when it comes to gymnastics we're missing, and that is the upper body pull. So there's 6 planes. So there's that one motion, one out of the 6 planes of motion. We're gonna have a hard time right now. And I want to talk about some of the things that we're hoping to do here in April in order to solve that. But in gymnastics, we can handle almost everything else. And then when it comes to cardio, again, this is something where we can still do almost everything in cardio. The only thing we might be missing is a rowing machine, unless you stole one of mine and brought it home. I am missing 3 of them, by the way, so I'm not sure who took them, but we can still do our cardio. And I still think that we need to do a workout here soon, one of these days. Maybe today would be the best day to do it, where we just make a run for time and we find out who can run the longest and farthest before they get caught. So
You're gonna get us into trouble, man.
yeah, just don't post it. Don't tag CrossFit Crescent when that happens.
But I can see it's recording, so I'm gonna use the recording.
Yeah, but it's only recording on my computer, so I'll delete it before then.
Okay.
Yeah, but cardio, we're still good here, right? So there's still so much for us to be able to learn and to focus on here in cardio and in gymnastics, and then some of the technique work in weightlifting. And then that's not even to say, how about nutrition? And so one of the things we got back a ton from you guys on our survey was the desire for more coaching in nutrition, more teaching, more even specifics like meal plans. How do I develop a good meal plan for now and for the future? Like, this could be a time that people work on even like a cooking class. Like, how do I prepare my meals for the week? So this area of nutrition is an area where we can think about this time as, oh man, I don't have my weightlifting bar, I don't have my squat rack, so I'll my life sucks, and what am I going to do with my life, right? Well, that's just really kind of a narrow way to look at what we're talking about overall health and fitness, that we've still got a ton of gymnastics to master. And one of the things, this is a beautiful time for us to just, coming back to gymnastics again, as my gymnastics coach comes out in me, is we can do a ton of static holds, a ton of static, you just get 2 chairs and just learn to hold yourself up and then do an L-sit between 2 chairs. I mean, that kind of planks, that kind of stability work is what stability work helps us overall in our everything. So when we come back to the weightlifting and we come back to intensity, we're going to have more of the stability in our bodies, able to withstand the intensity and things we're going to put on it. So we can still do. We got tons of gymnastics to still work on, tons of cardio to still work on, and so one of the ways we can think about this time is nutrition. This is a great time for us to hone in and to look at how does our body react when we eat certain things. How can I learn to cook things efficiently, store them, so that when life kind of gets back into a normal rhythm again, that I can jump right into that normal rhythm with my nutrition being nailed down. So we can still hammer away at nutrition. And then lastly, in the area of motivation and purpose, I think this is another thing. I mean, I'm gonna ask a question here and ask everyone to kind of type in an answer to this, which is, when was the last time that you sat down and you took 15 minutes? Yeah, I'm going to put down a number. You took 15 minutes to write out some goals that you have for your health and fitness. So if you'll type in the comments, when was the last time you sat and you took 15 minutes to write out your goals in fitness, health and fitness, okay? Not talking about other areas of your life, but specific to health and fitness. Let's see just what everyone's putting here. So we have never, emoji, sweat mark. I'm not sure if that means never, but it's 1 month, 2 months, never, never. I wrote them in my mind. Good. Okay. Never. February. Weight, food. Yes, I did. Never. And then Zaid, he says March. So that's just an interesting thought there, that we've not taken the time to kind of define, hey, what would be the next, where do I want to try and arrive next on my journey? And what would be some of the steps that I need to get? What are some of the things that I need to do in order to be able to reach that level? And so this is one area that I think we can really hammer away at over the next, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that I think we've not laid a good foundation in this area. This is an area where I'm particularly passionate about. Personally, I set goals. I have long-term goals in my life in terms of in several areas. So I do my fitness, I do my marriage and family, I do my faith, I do my finances. Those are just 4 of areas that I set some long-term goals, which are usually 2 to 3 years away. And then I back it up and say, hey, in the next 3 months. And then I back it up even further, because the thing is motivation is aimed at goals, but really goals are only reached by changing your habits. And so really looking at what are the new habits that I need to instill in my life in order to move towards the goal that I really have. Okay. So for some people, we trying to think of someone who it was just recently was saying, well, I mean, I could just, like Rose is a good example of how she's doing handstands. Just a month ago was the first time that she felt comfortable to do a handstand on her own. And that brought her she was super excited about that. And, yeah, and you should be. And someone else too recently was doing handstands in their house. And it felt, it was one of the first times in their life that they've been able to do that. So one of the things that in these coming weeks that we're going to spend some time on is I'd love to do some teaching and giving you guys some tools and some ways to think about these things. What are my goals? And what's really the purpose of those goals? I mean, honestly, can we really stop and think about why is that particular goal important? And so we got to answer that. So we can set a goal, great, but why is it important? And then why is that important to you? So we bring that back another level. And then why is that important to you? And then you bring that back, and you start really being able to stop and think about foundationally in our lives, why are those things important to us? And that what that helps uncover is, what are we really motivated towards? And what would success really look like? And so taking pen to paper is one of the most important parts of that goal setting process. So one of the things even Greg Glassman would say is he was amazed at the difference that would happen in athletes when they just had a workout journal and they began to journal the workouts that they did and what their goals were. Just their accountability, just from writing it down like that, would really made a big difference in people's lives. And so, so in other words, so then we're not even talking about mobility and recovery when we talked about sleep. And of course, nutrition plays a big part in recovery too. That was one of the big things that Faisal and what we've talked about before is just realizing that when you finish a workout, what does your body really need? And I mean, now again, because we're in our homes, we're less active more than likely than we've ever been. So really honing in on nutrition is extremely important in this time. But again, so I think we can think about this time, and we can be really bummed out about all that we feel that we're missing out on, or we can really stop and think and realize, actually, so we're taking off one thing, maybe a big portion of it, but all these other areas, it allows us to take some time to really focus in on and make some progress in. So I think that's one of the things I just wanted to start with and understand. And then again, in the survey, what we really saw was the desire in the area of nutrition was a big one, and motivation, figuring out how to be motivated and to maintain motivation and to grow that into the future. So so I wanted to share that as kind of a beginning to give perspective to that. Again, we're all disappointed because we miss seeing each other face to face, and we miss there's just something about having a hook grip and with a bar and working on some snatch. But because in one way, right, like that's what we love about the snatches, it's really it's the movement that requires everything. It requires mobility, it requires stability, it requires flexibility, it requires base strength and core strength and right technique. All of that is put together. So for a time, okay, we're going to set that aside, but we can either view that as, wow, like I'm so disappointed I don't get to go into the gym and do that, or we can say, okay, this gives me an opportunity now to go back to the basics and perform them really well. And so I think that was one more thing that Glassman writes at the very, very beginning. Wadia, maybe you remember this, at the very beginning of the L1 seminar, the L1 book, is do you remember what he says is the greatest temptation for beginners?
The greatest temptation for beginners. Well, I forgot that point.
I didn't quote it exactly how he wrote it, but he says the biggest temptation is to move on to the high skill things and not to focus and create excellence on the basics. And he talks about L-sits, and he talks about he specifically brings up L-sits because of the whole body. Everything needs to be there, flexibility and core strength and everything. So that I
remember him talking about, of course, concentrating on the basics and concentrating on the mechanics, and then move to adding the intensity. This is what I recall.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I like to say there's still so much that we could be working on here in these coming weeks. And so I think what I wanted to say let me just stop there for just a second. And if you guys have any questions or thoughts that you want to add into this, I want to give you guys a chance to comment on that.
Joseph, if you allow me, I think there's an overlap between the weightlifting, gymnastics, and cardio. I mean, it's all about the tools that we are missing right now. I mean, some of us might have them at home, but we're not. And it's also about, again, I mean, when you talked about motivation, for example, for me, motivation is when you work with a group, but not online. Actually, you know, as you mentioned, face to face, doing the workout with your friends. I mean, that makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're right about the weightlifting, that we might be losing a lot there because we lack the weights, basically. And but you're right about the concept. I mean, it's that yes, we are presented with an opportunity to concentrate on the other areas. But I mean, it's I guess it's the tools, it's being there, it's just doing it with your friends and your mates. That's what we're really missing, I guess.
Well, and that's true. There's certainly a place to kind of mourn, and I'm just as sad as you guys that we don't get to have that part right now. And so I'm with you that there's a disappointment that we don't get to have that part of it right now. Yeah. So Rose asked a great question here. So she said, tell me the proper way of setting goals. So if my goal is to reach a certain weight, on a lift, or to be able to do a certain movement, what are the steps that are needed to consider to reach that goal? And how do we write it all out in a way that makes sense and be able to track it? So that's a great question. So originally, when I think it was 2 weeks ago, when Saif and I and Faisal and the team, when we sat down and we were setting seminars, where like we did the nutrition one, we did the sleep one. Actually, tonight I was supposed to do it on goal setting, on how to set goals. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rose. I hear you too about a certain maybe body fat percentage or a body weight percentage. Sure, those are all parts of setting goals. So that's something I've done a lot, and I do it personally. But that's something that I plan to do here in the coming 7 to 10 days. We've got, at this point, we've got Faisal slated on Monday to do a seminar about injury, like prevention, prehab, and rehab. And so, but I would really like to do some teaching on, and some training and like a workshop, a seminar on how do we set goals, and how do we create, that's really a big part of it. How do we create the small habits and steps that move us towards those goals? So anyone else have any questions or thoughts? Okay. So I think one of the things that right now, one of the things we're just in a tricky place, as I know all of you guys are too, is that we know that the curfew is going to last for another 2 weeks. And okay, Rihan, go ahead. Do you have a comment if you want to? I will unmute you. Go ahead, Rihan.
Hello.
Rihan, you had a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, actually about the Facebook working out. Sometimes I couldn't catch the class, so I tend to get back to it some other time and work out by myself. So I think the Facebook workouts was a good thing, and now you removed it. So
Okay.
that was my comment.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you'd like the ability to
Get back to the class again if I missed it.
yeah, if you miss it. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. One of the things that what we can try and figure out a way to do is to be able to record what happened and send it, where if you want it, we can send it to you to be able to do it and we can record the Zoom classes. That's possible. The thing that we ended up about 80 to 90% of the people that responded on the survey had said they either prefer Zoom or they don't mind either way. And one of the things we found out was we really felt like as coaches, we were able to do more coaching when we were doing it on Zoom than when we're doing it on Facebook Live. Sort of on Facebook Live, the coaches and I would feel, sort of like we're just in front of a TV camera, and it's just very hard to interact and it's hard to be helpful at all. So, what Dia said, Zoom is more interactive. So, I think, so Riham, we'll really try and work to solve that, to be able to give you a way to track that in the future. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts there? Thanks, Riham, for saying that. All right. One of the things that we one of our plans, and we were about 24 hours away from being able to pull it off, was to basically check out equipment from the gym. And so one of the things we're working on trying to do is we've got a list of all of our equipment, and what we're hoping to do is that maybe the curfew finishes on the 15th, but we may be able to figure out a way to get the equipment where a kettlebell, a dumbbell, and so we're working on that. And as soon as, because what may end up happening is the government may say, business is back open, you can travel around, but they may put a clamp on certain kinds of businesses. And so I just want you guys to know that we have a process. We've been thinking about that, and we've been developing some things, but we're waiting for really an opportunity to be able to pull that part off on the equipment. I think with that said, though, again, I just want to bring us back to understanding is that what we want to be able to do is let's take this as an opportunity that we can kind of cross off our list for right now, one aspect of this, so that allows us to lay an even more important foundation in our lives for overall health and fitness. And so we may just have to wait. Yeah, good. So Mary brought up, no, I think it's good that you said you much prefer Zoom and the added value, what we were doing. So thanks for that comment, Mary. Yeah. We do feel like the Zoom, again, it's been overall better, but I think what Riham, you bring up a good thing is that you want to be able to see it afterwards. So we'll work on a way to be able to help the few people that impacts. I think, can I ask this question then, is that if we were to do some more seminars or classes, in the next week to 2 weeks in any one of these areas, what would you guys like to see? You have to speak now or forever hold your peace.
I want to say that I'm really excited for the seminar that Faisal is going to do. You mentioned it's about injuries, and so this was one of the topics. So it's already there for me.
Good, yeah. Yeah, that'll be one coming up. Go ahead, someone else is about to say something.
I think Joseph, strength is going to be the most area that I would like to concentrate on, because I have a bit of that and bit of I have my own nutrition now, and I have my own nutrition and meal plans, and I do a gymnastic all the time. I still want to maintain my strength. Forget about the weightlifting for now. I mean, it's not going to happen. But if I would able to maintain actually only maintain my strength, that would be perfect for me, for like taking out the circumstances.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a concern of yours. Good. Okay. Strength maintenance. Okay. So I see here, so I see people saying gymnastics and goals. Yeah. Good. And with gymnastics, is there any particular, and Hussam, I see that safety, injury, good. Rehan, gymnastics, good. Hussam brought up having more sessions for kids, good. And when you say scaling things, Hussam, are you talking about scaling things for the kids or scaling things for us as athletes too?
I think both, but mainly for the kids, if we
Yeah.
can tailor something, even the nutrition, the gymnastic, all of that, that would be excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph, maybe we can have a seminar that specifically talks about or maybe presents certain moves that we can do at home, not in specific CrossFit moves, but moves that we can do at home, whether they are gymnastics related, cardio related, or weightlifting, or okay, they're not going to be weightlifting for sure, but certain moves that we can do at home that will definitely support us in maintaining, probably as Zaid mentioned, strength and other aspects as well. So maybe just have this seminar and talk about certain moves, and this move will improve 1, 2, 3. That move will improve 1, 2, 3, and maybe we can do those moves during the day at our own pace and not address them as a workout. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's good to think through. Yeah, really, what are some of the best home movements that can be done? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good. When we talk about nutrition, some of you guys put nutrition on here. Is there anything in particular I want to ask? Is there anything in particular about nutrition that is on your mind?
Sorry if I'm the only one.
No.
I'm talking a lot, but I just want to say that maybe if as a suggestion that not on a daily basis, but on maybe 2 a week, let's say, just to receive a simple nutrition tip. Saying, for example, if you eat this vegetable or that fruit and you add with it, whatever or something, it will give you the value. What's the value of eating certain foods? Or it's like a nutrition tip, just like 2 tips per week, and those tips would really add value to us. I mean, just a suggestion, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's good because once you start putting one tip on top of another tip on top of another tip and implementing it, then it makes a big difference in the long run. Yeah. Yeah.
I think, Joseph, the seminar that we took with Noor was very helpful on the nutrition side. Maybe if we can have like a list of things, because for example, banana, we thought it's very good for sugar, but it's more carbs than sugar thing. So if you say, okay, start your day with this kind and then end your day with protein or carbs or whatever, take care not to have a lot of juices and like small tips, especially we don't have the luxury to bring whatever we want from the shops. So sometimes we have limited resources from vegetables or fruits or whatever. So if we can have like take almond instead of that, or so the alternatives of different sources of protein, carbs, and so on. That would be a good tip, and for the kids too.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned because the kids too needs to scale it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good, great. Guys, this is really helpful to hear, what are the questions that you have, and Yeah, this is really helpful. And so I see some notes here from Rose and Mary about intermittent fasting. I think we briefly talked about that during Faisal's nutrition. Faisal and Anna, as they did the nutrition thing, we briefly talked about intermittent fasting. Maybe one of the things that'd be interesting to talk about, we didn't really do this in the seminar, was to talk about the different kinds of sort of diet paradigms, you know, intermittent fasting, keto diet, the zone diet, paleo. What are their similarities? What are their differences? That might be interesting and helpful. Yeah. So a nutrition challenge. Yeah, a nutrition competition. For Rachel, anything with competition is going to be great. So that's the key. All right.
Joseph, something related to nutrition. Once, I remember once Saif posted a way of how to make a healthy pancake, for example.
Yeah.
You know, the bananas and oats and that stuff. I mean, I do it at least once per week, and the kids love it. I love it, and it's healthy. It's good. How about
one healthy meal, a healthy meal? Yeah.
A healthy meal. I mean, it doesn't have to be even weekly. Maybe on bi-weekly basis. Just share with us a healthy meal. Because they're easy to do, and they're healthy. They will contribute to our nutrition.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, Saif, every morning he wakes up and he makes himself those pancakes. So we'll have to get him to make something else. Make some other ones. No, that's good. Some simple, healthy meals that are good for you and for the family. Yeah.
Yes, or maybe even smoothies as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Richard, I want to give you a chance just to say anything. If anything's, you've got some ideas and thoughts.
I don't have any thoughts, but although we try very hard to eat healthy, it's very hard to cater to the kids as well, because the kids are not always on the same wavelength as we are as adults to want to eat vegetables and that kind of stuff. So even though we want to make an effort, it's a little bit difficult to cater to everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. Faisal, anything from you? I'll give you a chance too.
Not really. I mean, I'll get the same problems as everyone else, really. Motivation, obviously, is the biggest one. And everybody is in this for different reasons and different purposes. At the end of the day, let's be honest, if we could achieve the objectives without sweating and getting tired and hurting ourselves, we'd rather be sitting on our asses all day. Nobody gets into the desire to get uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is part of the process to get to where you want to be.
Right.
And you can't beat this for being uncomfortable. Sitting in the house all day and waiting for who knows what. No idea when this is going to end and how it's going to end. Obviously, only thing I said to you the other day, if I had another 24 hours, this would be different for me. I'd go out and buy any equipment I can find and throw it in my house and I'd be fine, because I could do this all day for another week, 2 weeks, no problem. The biggest thing is basically the training, the exercise right now. Everything else is do remotely. At least for me, that is. And everyone has their own problems.
Yeah. Like I said, we were about 24 hours away ourselves from being able to. We were preparing the whole process of being able to. People come in and grab a piece of equipment, because we could do a whole lot with one dumbbell or one kettlebell, and but we're going to be working on that. We'll be working on that for when the time comes. And again, we just don't know.
The pull-up bar, as you said, it really just that. If I had a pull-up bar, everything else would probably be easier. And this is one of the biggest issues anyway. At the end, you just need to basically, the process of thinking, oh, I'm going to go down, I'm going to have to work out, I'm going to sit and plan a training session. That's the one that blocks. But once you get started and you do it, and when you finish with it, it's in a half an hour, 20 an hour, you always feel good afterwards. So driving factor. It is that easy, really. Just get it done, really.
Yeah. And staying motivated to get it done, and then you're right on the backside. You feel great about it. So
Get it out the way.
Well, a couple of things. So we'll be working on these seminars, guys, in the coming 2 weeks. We'll kind of announce them and be working on them with you. We will. One of the other things was, I don't know how many of you guys saw about CrossFit. They're putting together I think they called it, it's a 3-week competition. Did you guys, I don't know how many of you guys saw that?
Not me.
Yeah, CrossFit decided to come out with a competition. Maybe I can put it real quick. I'll pull up I don't have the link on me. Yeah, I'll drop it here in the comment box. So this is an online competition that CrossFit HQ is going to implement. It's free to join. They're going to release 3 workouts over the next 3 weeks. I think actually today, I didn't look to see if it was released, but they'll release it kind of like the CrossFit Open, but it's meant to be, all of it can be done in your home. Because I mean, right now, I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but probably something like 80 or 90% of all CrossFit affiliates in the world are closed right now. So they've put together this competition to do. So we hadn't announced it to the gym or anything, but what we would like to do is, we know in this time, what the way that they designed this is you can sign up for free, or you can decide to donate however much money you want to, and it will go to supporting whichever affiliate you put on there, whatever affiliate you choose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take that money and make scholarships available to some of our members that are going through really hard times financially. There's different people that have contacted me and talked about the challenges they're undergoing right now. And so we'll announce some more about that, but that's how we would like to utilize that as like a scholarship fund for members that are undergoing, extreme hardship in this. So that's going to be a fun workout that we can do. You submit your results and we can see our results amongst each other and amongst the world. So that's one thing. I think we are finishing up we're finishing up our 2-week challenge that finishes on Tuesday. And so one of the things we asked the people that are in the current challenge, I think we had something like 31 people sign up for it. One of the things we asked was, would they like to extend the challenge for another 10 days, or would we like to do a new one? And basically everyone said they would like to do a new challenge. So we're going to be working on that over this week, is creating a new challenge. And what we'll probably do is create some new challenges that bring in on what are some of the goals and what are some of the new habits. And it'll add nutrition. One of the things we were a little bit, usually when we add nutrition into our challenges, we're a little bit more specific of what we want to see: a certain number of helpings per day of vegetables, a certain amount of protein. But because we didn't know over these 2 weeks what people's ability to get groceries was going to be like, how much could you get out of the house, how much you couldn't. And so we tried to just simplify the nutrition, but we'll probably make this one, it'll be more definitive of what we're looking for in nutrition. So that's one of the other things that we'll kind of launch here in April. And then, so I've taken a bunch of notes here. Let's see. Yeah, and I guess what we're going to find out is probably in about maybe 10-ish days, 8 to 10 days, we'll find out what happens with the curfew. And I hope all you guys are like me, praying and hoping that we can get these corona cases down to 0. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of bummed waking up this morning and seeing that, we had been at 8 4 days ago, and then 6, and then 4, And I was really hoping yesterday was going to be, 2, 1, 0, and then it was 21. But I'm hoping that today we've got some better news, and we'll see what happens in these coming days. So it's been an hour. I don't have anything real special at this point to go. I just wanted to be able to hear from you guys, give you guys a chance to help, direct these next 2 weeks. And I think one of the things that was, again, in America and in different places in Australia and Canada, the governors and the places have basically said, hey, you're shut down for 2 months, 3 months. And I think you guys all know, I mean, when you look at what's happening in America, specifically in America, is not it's not looking like it's going to go well for them. And so it's going to be 2-3 months before they can, get on top of this thing. And so to think that their gyms are going to be shut down, they're having to just think, okay, this is a long-term thing. I think that's one of the challenges for us, is they're taking kind of a 1 to 2 week, at a time, which is great. And we got started early, which I'm really thankful for in terms of shutting down and really clamping down on things. So let's all hope that this thing we can be cleaned out and ready to go in 2 weeks, and perhaps it's another 2 weeks. But the other thing that we'd be thinking about is we've got Ramadan starting up on the 23rd of April. So we'll kind of, even with a ramp up, we'll be adjusting the schedule at the gym if we get to moving then. But I didn't know if anyone had any other questions or comments at this time for us.
Would like to say thank you, basically. Thank you in general for having this session, for trying to listen from us and taking input from us. And thank you for the online sessions in general. You're trying as much as possible to give us value and really make sure that we continue in our health and fitness journey. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. And I think, really what this is really challenging us to do, Wadia, is to stop and realize that we love to coach, right? We love to be in there and coaching you guys. We love to see you guys. We love to teach the movements and cue the movements. But we're realizing, I think that's one of the things that this has really helped us realize is we really are a coach. Like, what we want to be is we are coaches, and coaching and teaching, it goes beyond just how to do a good snatch. And so it's forcing us to go deeper and get better in areas that these other areas. And so thank you guys for the chance to really try and serve you guys and to help us all make it through this time. This really, this is an unprecedented time that we all hope is never really faced again. So I think I would like to just announce something for you guys, and that is that we'll kind of finish with this, is that you guys know that I've been here in Jordan for almost 7 years. However, my wife and I have made the decision that we are actually going to be moving back. I'm moving my family back to America, currently set for the end of May. And we had made that decision about 4 months ago. And I'll give you guys a little bit of the background of that, but many of you guys know my wife had some tests done about 1.5 years ago, and we began to find out that there were some health things that we needed to work on. And so over the last 1.5 years, we've been working on those health things. I sent her home in November to get retested and to see how if we had made progress. But the doctor looked at that and he said, you've not made progress, and it's become more dangerous. So due to my wife's health and our family, we made the decision in December that we're going to be moving. I'm going to move the family back to Memphis and back to Tennessee. And so currently I plan to come back and travel back into Jordan every so often, every 2 to 3 months. And so part of the reason why I wanted to say that I've been removing myself slowly but surely from like the day-to-day operations at the gym. So maybe you guys maybe you guys sort of under your breath were maybe wondering, well, where's Joseph been? And that's been intentional. My goal has been to see Saif and Faisal and Noor and Sumaya and the staff, Hisham, that they are at a place where they feel comfortable and they're living the values and the vision of who we are. And I think, we talk about joy at the top, and another word I have felt really that resonates with our values is courage. Like we want to see people living with courage and living with and joy is a part of that, but even courage, like the courage to go out and do hard things, the courage to go through a time like this. I mean, this is really a time for courage. There's a lot of fear out there. There's a lot of things that we could be afraid of. We could be afraid of the virus itself. We can be afraid of what's going to happen with my business, with my job, and all that. But that is really what we've been seeing happen. And so, again, I've been trying to kind of wean myself out of the management decisions and just the day-to-day operations more and more. And so that's why I wouldn't do that if I didn't feel confident in our team too. I think Saif, Faisal, every single one of them are people that they're fantastic. And I think all of you guys would agree they're far better coaches than I am. They're far better. I might speak better Arabic than them, but they're better coaches. So that was, I've been waiting I didn't know when the right time was to tell everyone that, and just to make it more of a public thing. But there had been a time a couple weeks ago when I had really thought about telling everyone and telling you guys, and is that I didn't, just with all the turmoil of all this stuff happening, I didn't want to cause any more turmoil or anything. But the reality is I'm going to miss you guys. And I've only got, 6-7 weeks left in country, but I wanted to tell you guys, because what I really do hope is I hope for a chance to sit down and have some shipsu pasta, some mansif. I don't know what it is, Faisal, for Iraq, but whatever it is, you've got to, I'm hoping to have some good food with you guys before all that happens. Break the iftar, have iftar together, break the fast. So, I just wanted to make that more public, but and again, just personally, my confidence in our team here to be able to continue to live out what we're passionate about in these things, and seeing health and fitness really grow in Jordan and in the region. I feel very confident about that. So anyway, I know it is, some of you guys have been writing that's a shock, and yeah, it is a shock. I think, so just many of you guys know my story of how we ended up in Jordan, right? I don't know if I've maybe told some of you guys that one-on-one, but the big picture of that was, so Rose says she doesn't know how. Tell us again. Well, it's a musalsal now. We're on the musalsal here. I'll have to tell the story. The big thing was, it was basically 10 years ago. I had been doing some praying and fasting, and I came away from that time with just a real sense of, I was finishing my master's in business, and I came away just thinking that very clearly, and I don't have a lot of these times happen in my life, but there's been several of them when very clearly God spoke to me and just very clearly led and said, I want you to prepare your family to move to Jordan. And so I called my wife I was kind of scared to call my wife. And I said, honey, I really think that God is saying it's time for we need to prepare our family to move to Jordan. And so when I said that, she was driving in Denver, Colorado, at the time I was in a different state and for that day. And right as I said that, she went underneath a big road sign that said Jordan Road, exit now. I mean, that exact moment when I said that. But my wife didn't want to encourage like we had just moved. The crazy thing is we had just moved 2 weeks earlier to Colorado from Georgia. And we had 2 young kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So can you imagine you as a family moved 2 weeks earlier across the country with a 1 and a 3-year-old. And then your husband calls you and says, I think God's saying we need to be ready to move to Jordan. And so, yeah, so you guys are saying, wow, it was a crazy thing. But what was interesting was my wife didn't tell me about that sign for about 8 months. She was afraid to, encourage that too much. And so those of us that are married, we kind of know that's funny. But what happened was in that same week, right as I had finished my MBA, I got 3 phone calls from 3 companies that all of them were friends of mine that own small businesses in America, but all 3 of them called separate from each other. And they said, would you be interested in moving to the Middle East and helping me open a branch of our business in the Middle East? And so I got 3 phone calls from 3 different businesses all in that week asking me that question. Would I be interested to move to the Middle East? And they said, we don't care where you move. And so I says, well, how about Jordan? They said, doesn't matter to us in our case. And so that was really the beginning of that journey of moving out here. And so moving out here, was working with those guys for about 6 months when the first opportunity from an Iraqi friend of mine, who we were doing CrossFit together, he took me out for Mensif. That was really the key. He took me out to have Mensif, and he asked me, had I ever thought of opening my own CrossFit gym? And that was really where CrossFit Crescent was birthed, was over Mensif. So now you know why I love Mensif, is that was where it was birthed. So that was in like January of 2000. I moved here in July 2013, and that was about January or February in 2014. And then we opened in October 2014. So by the time we could kind of put it all together and make it all happen. And so similarly, kind of as I had gotten this doctor's report, I spent some more time just praying and asking God for more clarity about what he really wants, because just wanted to be clear. But I felt very, very clearly that he said it's time. This summer is 7 years, and it's time to get the family back home, get them taken care of, get my wife's health taken care of. And so that's what we'll be doing. But I'll be coming back over here to spend time with you guys. And I mean, I'll still be in touch with the team. But I think, again, I just wanted you guys to know, one, why you've seen less and less of me. That wasn't something that I wanted to. We didn't want to share too early per se. But now, since we've only got, it'll be the actual date for our flights are May 24th. So we left America on July 4th. So Independence Day, we left America, and originally I was trying to buy my tickets for the 25th of May, the Independence Day of Jordan. That would have been great, but we ended up with on the 24th of May. So that's actually the first day of the Eid. So I think someone was making fun of me when I told them that. They said, yeah, there's a saying in Arabic that now that you leave, we're going to really enjoy the Eid. Like you're going away with the Eid. I don't know if I caught it exactly, but it's khawf alay. They were messing with me. But all right. Well, appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for your wishes and for my thank you for your wishes for my wife and her health and for our family. And, my 13-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my just turned 8-year-old too. They're pretty bummed out about leaving Jordan. They love Jordan. They love their friends. They've been here 7 years, and it's kind of really all they've known. And Ferris, I know Isaac really loves Ferris, and my kids have loved their time here, as we have. And so I've got one final big project with the Jordan military. I think that's one other thing that's been amazing, is the chance to work with the Jordan military these last it's been basically 5 years that I've gotten to. Now I'm putting together our third gym with them. So we're working with the 101st, and we're excited to do that. But we get to finish that up. We just shipped the equipment out of China today. Actually, it left China, so it'll arrive in 20 to 25 days. And so if anyone has any wasta down in Aqaba and Jumruk, you let me know. If it's open, I don't even know what's going to happen. We just got to get that thing on the boat and get it sent in. And you guys don't think it's a problem though if the equipment was made in Wuhan? I think anyone will. Yeah, no, it was made in a different place. But yeah, hopefully, since it takes like 20 to 25 days to get in, I don't think there should be a problem with it. They coming from China, but I'll only have about a month to kind of get it all set up, and you may see us doing a couple trainings where they come to us and come to the facility for us to train them as coaches again. So, but it's been a great time. These 7 years, I've gotten to work with all 3 of the Jordan Special Forces units, and I think you guys are with me in that sense that Saif is on here, and Faisal's on the call, and Anna. It looks like maybe Faisal, maybe he left. He was bored. The team's got you guys, and they love you guys. I love you guys, and we're excited to see. This is a unique time, but we look forward just in faith and expectation. Like this is a time. It's an opportunity for us to focus and grow in a couple other areas, and we're going to do it with you guys. Okay, I just want you guys to know that we're here with you. We're going to get to work on these things, and so if any of you guys have any questions or concerns, I want you guys to reach out to me or Saif or your coach too. I mean, they can handle things, but I'm here for you. And thank you guys for the time tonight. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Joseph. It's a shock what you just shared with us, to be very honest. It's very sad to hear that. Yeah. I really hope your wife, and it's really a shock. I never even thought that you would do it or you would go back. Never, ever, for some reason.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and best of luck. And I don't know what to say. It's a shock.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, right? من 10 قوم 40 يوم صار منهم.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So when
That's
when I was in getting my getting this, and I bought one of the Palestinian ones too, and then I asked for the American one. They were laughing. They couldn't. The pharmacist was Syrian, and so I was saying, because half of me is من خليل وhalf من حيطات and half من أمريكا. Yeah, our lives have definitely been changed, and we really do. This has been a wonderful 7 years, and it'll be something we've treasured. And like I said, though, I plan to come back and really, still be owning and still be championing Crescent from afar. In fact, part of what this whole thing has happened is that with the Corona, the fact that it could come up again in the fall, it's like sped up our thinking about when I'm over in America. Part of what my role is likely going to be is helping us grow the online portion of what we do. And because we've had people joining us from all over the world that are old members of the gym. And so everything from online classes to even remote coaching, where we just coach one-on-one, will be some of the things that I'll get to contribute and work on. So, all right, guys, I won't bore you any longer. Thanks for your kind words, Wadia. Thanks for everyone for your messages, and we'll give you guys some more details in these coming days and weeks. Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Joseph. Bye.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Joseph. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.